Excuse me, do you want something? Oh, yes. I'd just like a few minutes of your time so that I can show you this invention of mine, which I think is going to make you a very, very rich man. Oh! I don't want to be a rich man. Would you please get that out of here?
What is it?
This, ma'am, this is a fully automated dog wash, which can clean a medium-sized dog in less than 20 minutes with no mess or bother.
Let me see.
It's perfect for the apartment-bound dog. And when not in use as a dog wash, it can always serve as a plant stand.
I'm sure it can. Now, there's an invention the world has really been waiting for, an automatic dog washer. Maybe they should have used it on this movie. And it's in the Buddy System, one of the movies you're going to be reviewing on this show. And across the aisle from me, with a cold today, is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And across the aisle from me, it's not Dr. Kildare, no, it's Roger Ebert, film critic for the Chicago Sun-Times. In addition to the Buddy System, we'll also be reviewing an Australian film about a romance between two very shy people. It's called Lonely Hearts. Also, La Balance, a French gangster film made by an American that won all the top French Oscars last year. Also, Carmen, a modern version of the famous opera told through some fabulous flamenco dancing, so we have sort of an exotic lineup this week. But first, Roger begins with a more traditional American film about a race car driver.
The first film is called Heart Like a Wheel and tells the story of a driver on the NASCAR drag racing circuit who has won more races than any other driver in history. What makes this driver really unique is that she's a woman, Shirley Muldowney, the first woman to break into drag racing at the NASCAR level. Muldowney is played in the movie by Bonnie Bedelia, and here's a scene where she's trying to talk 3 male track officials into agreeing to her petition so she can race against men.
There are rules against a woman driving?
No, not exactly.
Okay, then. Well, suppose I'm a man and all I've done is race in amateur local events in street machines. Now, what do I have to do?
There are procedures.
3 accredited drivers have to sign for my license, so? Doesn't say anything here about not being a woman. Or are you going to stop me from getting the signatures?
Muldowney breaks those early barriers and starts breaking records. That's a pretty predictable moment, I guess, but there's more to Heart Like a Wheel than racetrack footage. The movie also follows Shirley Muldowney through several unsuccessful relationships with men and through a stormy lifetime with her son. And yet, you know, somehow I never really got involved in any of this. The race footage was a lot of fun, but then race footage is always a lot of fun in the movies, no matter what 2 things or 6 things are racing. But the personal story of Shirley Muldowney never seemed to be about a real person that these things were happening to. Instead, it seemed to me more like a lot of predictable feminist cliches shoved into a screenplay about a woman in her position. And the cliches, you know, about wanting to be independent and live her own life and compete with men, those cliches got in the way of the woman, so that I never understood why Shirley Muldowney wanted to be a racetrack driver, what she got out of it, and what anybody would get out of racetrack driving, man or woman. It was just all like, gee, I'm going to overcome this male prejudice and then I'll be a race driver. But yeah. Why?
Well, the film didn't do much for me either, and I was sort of surprised because a lot of critics around the country have taken it up as sort of some kind of battered child, you know, that the studio wasn't fully behind this film, and so this was really great. And I was looking forward to this picture, but I didn't find much up on the screen that impressed me. I think there are a lot of, they may be true cliches, if you will, feminist cliches, but as presented in this film, it's nothing exciting. And there's another point. You said that the racing stuff is interesting. I didn't think so, and I think I can prove it with the clip we just saw. What race have we ever seen on TV or in film that is exciting that only lasts 9 seconds? I mean, you know, if it's a boxing match, you got 15 rounds with Rocky. You've got a 4-minute mile in the marathon.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you have other kinds of races in the movie where they are racing around a track.
Yeah, but it's a long race. Yeah. There's a lot going on. This is 9 seconds, boom, flat out. So in other words, her achievement, her achievement visually is not that interesting. And this is a movie, and that's why it doesn't work.
That's true, but it's also true that her achievement emotionally is not that interesting. I found that the relationships that she has with various people in her life, like Beau Bridges, for example, are very unsatisfactory. These people are mean to each other. They never seem to have the kind of rapport in the first place that would allow the breakup later on to mean something. And at the end of the film, I was just saying, wait a minute, there has to be more to this woman than this predictable story that could be about any woman in a comparable situation.
So we didn't like her personal life or her professional life. I think we got it covered. Coming up next at the movies, a film with Richard Dreyfuss that looks like a remake of The Goodbye Girl.
Ma'am, this is a fully automated dog wash, which can clean a medium-sized dog in less than 20 minutes with no mess or bother.
It certainly is a big bun.
It's a very big bun.
Big, fluffy bun.
It's a very big, fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Where's the beef?
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Hey, where's the beef?
I don't think there's anybody back there.
You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people.
Our next film, The Buddy System, is an almost total remake of The Goodbye Girl, the very funny Neil Simon movie with Richard Dreyfuss and Marcia Mason playing constantly feuding lovers. Remember that one? The Buddy System does offer a few changes from that successful formula. This time it's Dreyfuss and Susan Sarandon as the battling lovers, and this time she has a cute little boy instead of a cute little girl. And this time, most important, the movie isn't the least bit funny, as in this contrived scene where everything is going so well among the three of them that you just know his old girlfriend is going to pop in and ruin everything.
Here's to...
us.
Exactly.
Can I help you build the dog wash?
Sure. Listen, when the first big check comes in, why don't we all take a trip?
Great, where should we go?
You decide.
I don't know. Grand Canyon.
No. I mean a trip, you know? I'm talking trip here. How about, I don't know, Rio for Carnival?
Am I going on this trip, too?
Yes. Where would you like to go?
Africa.
Oh, I know where I want to go. Am I interrupting something? Joe, I have to talk to you.
You know, seeing that scene there brought back a lot of bad memories for me. The whole movie. That was Nancy Allen as the girlfriend, and I want to make one point very clear. This movie is utterly predictable, even if you have never seen The Goodbye Girl. This is one of those Neil Simon-like comedies where you just know if someone says they can't or won't do something in the very next second, there's going to be a knock on the door, and they're going to do it. This is also one of those movies where the actors have been equipped, it seems, with little joke books rather than a script, so they can throw wisecracks at each other. And this is also one of those movies where as soon as you hear the little kid's first few obscenity-filled wisecracks, when he walks in, you think, let me out of this theater. This is Hollywood's idea of cute, a foul-mouthed kid. For all those reasons, and a few more, which I'll try to come up with in a few seconds, for all of those reasons, I absolutely hated the buddy system.
Well, Gene, I think I liked it even less than you did.
No, you didn't. No, you couldn't.
You know how angry we get when we're in a theater and somebody behind us is talking, you know, people think they're home watching television. With this one, I think I still have the marks on my palm for my fingernails as I'm trying to keep quiet, because what I want to do is say every line just before the characters say it. At one point, I know they parted the shopping center.
Right.
And I know that the guy is going to turn around and he's going to say, hey. In other words, they're never going to meet again. He says, hey, how about a cup of coffee or something? And the next scene is in bed, right? I'm sitting there in the theater thinking to myself, hey, say, hey. And then he turns around and he says, hey. And it's just, the whole movie is like that. Not a single original idea in the entire film.
This had to be made by a committee, because there is no one in Hollywood.
A very, very ill-equipped committee.
No one in Hollywood, no individual could be this stupid. This is a very bad film.
I think that just about covers the buddy system. Our next movie is called La Balance, and La Balance is the French word for a police informer, a guy who's literally the balance between the cops and the criminals. The movie takes place in the Paris underworld, where a hooker and her lover are happy to lead fairly low-key, lazy lives, and then the police interrupt their happiness by trying to set this guy up as a stool pigeon to inform on one of the bosses of the French underworld. Here's a scene where the two of them still have their troubles all ahead of them.
Bouge pas, regarde mon œil. Donne le fric et j'oublie tout.
Tu repars.
C'est pas l'envie qui m'en manque.
Il faut payer pour toucher.
Heureusement, sinon je serais cocu.
Dis donc, j'ai une surprise pour toi. Je te filme?
Si ça se mange pas, ça se porte.
Tu boules.
Un pull en cachemire.
Comment t'as deviné?
Ah, t'es la seule à m'offrir des cachemires en été.
Un 4 heures, ça suit pas les saisons.
It's a Wonderful Life, but the peace is broken by a police raid on that guy. They want to pressure him into informing.
Ça sent l'ordure.
Police.
D'accord, je bouge plus.
That's Philip Leotard as La Balance, and his girlfriend is played by Natalie Bay. She's been in a lot of good movies this year. This movie is different from a lot of French gangster movies in that it's more about the lives of these people and about the French underworld. A lot of French directors seem to have so many Hollywood gangster movies in their minds that their own crime stories are sort of done in honor of Hollywood. But La Balance wasn't directed by a Frenchman, oddly enough. It was made by an American in Paris named Bob Swaim, and he does a really good job of understanding the insides of these two characters, these two fairly insignificant lovers who don't mind a life of crime, but never thought it was going to end in tragedy.
I liked it too. Maybe not quite as much as you did, but I enjoyed the fact, it's just what you said, that this was not the glamorous side of crime. So many, and there are wonderful films made about the glamorous life of crime, but I like movies that show the workaday criminal or the workaday person on the marginal edge. I'm thinking of films like Robert Mitchum and the Friends of Eddie Coyle, or The Long Good Friday, that English picture. Those, to me, you know, when you see a guy walking around in his underwear and he's the hero of the movie, if you will, then that tells you that they are focusing in a different area of the criminal world. But it was fascinating for me.
You mentioned two crime movies. I'll mention a movie you wouldn't think of in connection with this, and that would be Moonlighting, which is a movie not about crime, but about the specific activities of people in a daily situation where they get more and more trapped in and their choices are limited. That's what this movie is about. We start out with people, their experiences, and that's really, it becomes interesting on that level. Really.
I agree. Coming up next at the movies, the story of Carmen told through flamenco dancing.
You're my tab, you're one of a kind. You're a 1-calorie friend of mine. You're my tab, you're the taste for me. You're beautiful as gold it can be. So
taste.
You're not my diet anything. You're my tab.
What else?
You're not my diet anything. You're my tab.
Our next film is Carmen, a modern Spanish version of the classic opera about love and treachery told through the contemporary story of a Spanish director trying to cast and present his version of Carmen featuring flamenco dancing rather than traditional opera. But just like in the opera, he falls for a wild, independent, heartbreaking young woman named Carmen. And she is the beautiful young dancer he has selected to play his Carmen. So this is a case of real-life drama within a drama here as we watch them in rehearsal. You can't tell where the acting ends and the reality begins. That was Antonio Gades as the director and Laura Del Sol as Carmen. They both give fine dramatic performances, and they both dance magnificently in this film. There is a worldwide revival of interest in the Carmen story this year in film and dance and theater. And this Carmen, directed by Carlos Saura, is surely one of the best. Dance lovers will particularly enjoy this film. I thought it was terrific on that level, but also, I think it's a brief glimpse into modern Spanish culture. These characters are some of the most contemporary I've seen in recent Spanish films. This is an exceptionally well-made and entertaining movie. I really liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot, too, and one of the things I liked about it was the muscular, real quality of the dancing. It reminded me of some of Gene Kelly's work in the early 50s, where the dancing moves effortlessly out of the dramatic moments and goes back into the dramatic moments. Now, you know that reality is suspended. You know, for example, the people don't really dance out their love for each other or dance out their violence and the feelings that they have for each other, and yet...
I didn't think about that while this was going on.
Neither did I. I was thinking, gee, this is a real love story. I was able to accept the convention of the fact that they were dancing out their emotions, and that's been a long time since I felt like that about a dance movie.
Wasn't it also fascinating that you were seeing Spaniards? I mean, this is the cultural gap that we suffer, you know. You were seeing... You know, it sounds almost ridiculous to say this, but normal, everyday, these are upscale people, these are artists, the artist community, and they have all the same concerns. You see her agent when she comes in for the approach. It was an eye-opening film about the world, that's all.
It opened my eyes about flamenco dancing, too. Yeah. All I knew about flamenco dancing was basically from 25 years ago.
Jose Greco. Right?
Jose Greco on the Ed Sullivan Show. Now, I like it.
Me too.
Next at the movies, a piano tuner answers a Lonely Hearts ad and meets a girl who's pretty far out of tune.
Where'd you meet?
We were in the same outfit during the war.
I'm only asking.
Fresh and clean as a whistle. That's Irish Spring. Fresh and clean as a whistle. Irish Spring's green and white stripes have two truly effective deodorants. Two deodorants.
And a fine, fresh scent.
So you're fresh and...
clean as a whistle.
Irish Spring deodorant soap gets you fresh and clean as a whistle.
Times are tough for the small businessman. The risks are high. The competition fierce. It's hard to keep up. Fortunately, McDonald's is helping us out. They've cut prices. Now the same 100% all-American beef hamburger is only 39 cents.
Cheeseburger's only 49 cents.
Take it from me. This is the best businessman's lunch in town. 39-cent hamburgers.
49-cent cheeseburgers.
Got the business section?
McDonald's and you.
Our next movie is named Lonely Hearts, and it's a bittersweet little story from Australia about two lonely people who start to wonder whether it might not be better to be lonely together rather than lonely apart. The man is named Peter. He's a 49-year-old piano tuner, wears a toupee, and he lives all by himself. And he uses a Lonely Hearts Club to meet a woman named Patricia, a shy young girl who's dominated by her parents who don't want her to have any relationships with anybody. In this scene, Peter introduces Patricia to his brother-in-law and his nosy sister.
Gravy's good, Pete. Just like your mum used to make.
It's made with wine instead of water. Mine's exactly the same. When they've been married for a few years, all they can say about your food is, when's it going to be ready? That's my experience, anyhow. Have you ever been married? Peter hasn't told us the first thing about you.
Pamela.
No. Don't rush into it, dear.
No, we were engaged for, 5 years, weren't we, Pam?
8. My glass, dear? How long have you known Peter?
Pam, come on.
Well, where'd you meet?
We were in the same outfit during the war.
I'm only asking.
How much money did you make last year, Bruce?
None of your business.
I'm only asking.
Somehow they survive all this, love conquers all, and they share their first kiss on the beach.
It's still cold. Could you hold my bag while I do my coat up?
How good for you?
Yeah. Top button.
Lonely Hearts is a quiet and sort of painful little movie with some heartwarming moments in it. Has a couple of good performances, especially the one by Wendy Hughes as that shy young girl. But I think it lays on the loneliness just a little bit too heavily, especially in the way it shows her domineering parents. They're so broadly drawn they can't possibly be taken seriously. There are so many problems that these people have to overcome, everything from sexual frigidity to shoplifting. This movie stops being a love story and starts being a case study. I liked it, but I didn't like it enough to recommend it.
Neither did I. I can't recommend this film. I think that one of the reasons why they're so lonely, frankly, is that they are a little dull. I think this, I didn't want to spend 2 hours with them. No wonder they can't get a date. I hate to be sort of crude about it that way because, this is the kind of film where it's so sensitive, supposed to be so sensitive, but I'm sorry, the story is not told in a lively enough way, and that's one of the tricks, one of the really tough things to accomplish when you're trying to do a film about uninteresting people or conventionally uninteresting people.
You might have put your finger on something because at the end of the first hour of this film, I was ready to recommend it. I enjoyed, more or less the first half of the film, but what I thought was once they get over this paralyzing shyness and this inarticulateness, then maybe what they'll do is begin to come alive and to say, hey, this is the real me underneath and you've brought it out, but instead they just get worse and worse and worse until at the end of the film you want to ask the Lonely Hearts Club to refund their entrance fee.
Yeah, I would like to have been gone even before the ending of this picture. Now to recap our reactions to the movies on this show. Neither Roger nor I cared for the women racing car driver story, Heart Like a Wheel. Much too predictable, not enough exciting races, 2 thumbs down. We both positively hated the buddy system with Richard Dreyfuss, Susan Sarandon, and a wisecracking kid. This is a sure bet for our 1984 Worst 10 list. We agreed on the French gangster film La Balance, 2 thumbs up. And we both particularly liked Carlos Saura's flamenco Carmen. And finally, another agreement on Lonely Hearts. We both found this story of shy love too heavy-handed, so 2 thumbs down.
And so for Carmen, a real big thumbs up for La Balance, but Carmen is